Welcome back to Let's Have It Out. I'm still with Sam Mkokeli. Sam, Jacques Paul, the journalist, made a proposal that the investigations team of the Sunday Times must go to the Zondo Commission. What is the view of SANEF in this regard?
Look, it's up to Mr. Paul to make such a suggestion, as he has a lot of knowledge about the media itself and how the SARS story unfolded. It's up to the Zondo Commission to decide if they feel they need...
You don't have a view on it as SANEF?
No, it's a suggestion that's come, and that should be debated. For us, is not to be the arbiters in suggestions like this. Our issue is an issue of media freedom. We want South Africa to enjoy this right. South Africans, this right belongs to you. It's not for us to abuse, and we want us to be held accountable.
I'll tell you, Sam, I am for media freedom, even when, you know, I am for media freedom, but it becomes a problem when the media itself becomes a risk to the media freedom. Because when you have a situation where a newspaper is said to have hollowed out state institutions, then you are actually, agitating certain people to do certain things that would actually infringe on the media freedom. But let me take you back to another issue that I want us to talk about. Some editors, I think Ferrell Haverji and Songezo Zibi, who were editors, I think he was a boss at the time, they have actually voiced, concern about how the Sunday Times was conducting itself. But my concern is, why didn't those two journalists and others who were unhappy with what they were seeing, why didn't they say something or do something?
Look, with hindsight, everything tends to be a bit easier. We're looking back now at things that happened 3, 4, 5 years ago. I mean, at some stage, when the story started playing out, I was at the Sunday Times. I do ask myself that question. How did we, as a journalist, we have a lot of pride about the things that we do and high ethical standards and not spot this. What really happened? I mean, I hope somebody does write a book about the Sunday Times at the time, and so that we can get to the bottom of this fight. Is fascinating and disappointing things at the same time. But the beauty of it in the aftermath is we're able to have these conversations, and lessons have been learned from it. Sunday Times has changed. It's no longer the Sunday Times that covered and published those kind of stories.
Yeah, but you see, it's very difficult to be convinced by that if some personalities who were involved in this wrongdoing are still there working at the Sunday Times. You know, let me tell you, when KPMG is accused of something, you, the media, would say, let's look at all the cases that the affected person worked on or the affected people worked on. But I don't hear those calls when it's the media. Do you hold other professions to higher standards than the standards that you hold yourselves to?
No, absolutely not. I mean, as I said to you, SANEF is not the media industry.
Yeah.
We are an organization that works to protect South Africa in the context of a free and a robust media. Okay. It bothers us. Yeah. That there are these examples in the media industry. You're saying we don't want the media to be a risk to media freedom itself. There have been many examples and studies that we've done as SANEF, looking at, for example, inappropriate interference in editorial by commercial managers. There have been a number of statements that we've made publicly, and sometimes we go privately to have direct conversations with a number of people that we don't agree with this. We're quite hard on the industry itself.
Thank you. I don't want to keep our viewer waiting. Time for a call. We have Pule from Naturena on the line. Pule, what's on your mind?
I'm sitting and listening to you gentlemen talking about the media.
Yes.
95% of the journalists on this Sunday Times, they tell the truth. 5% of them are lying. And when they come out, they do really apologize. So now I want to know who is telling the truth here between SANEF and Sunday Times.
You heard the call?
Yeah, I think I do get the question from Prapule there. I don't think the facts are contested here.
Yes.
I think we all are agreeing. I mean, the narrative could not be sustained, and the Sunday Times apologized for what it did. And Stefan Hofstadter has also apologized for what he did. I'm not sure if it's enough, or the people who feel maligned by his actions are saying it's not enough.
You see, here you have increased VAT because of under-collection by SARS. You've got increased fuel levy. People in South Africa are feeling the squeeze. So this is not just some mistake that was made that did not have much of an impact, or somebody's reputation was sullied. There are people at SARS who have complained that their reputations were sullied. But I'm talking about now the practical part of it, that the organization allegedly could not function the way it was supposed to function because of what happened. But anyway, let's move forward. What I want to know is, because it could very well be that Sunday Times reporters fell prey to what we call Stratcom tactics. Okay. Now, I want to know, do South African journalists, as SANEF, to ensure that all the journalists that are practicing are people who can understand that when sources come to you with information, they have an ulterior motive. Sometimes that motive could be counter to the public interest.
Look, we try, as journalists and the industry generally, including SANEF, to create the environment for journalists to get training and for good people to be brought into the industry to do good work for South Africa. But that doesn't always work. I mean, a lot of academics have come out and talked about the issue of generalization of newsrooms, and there's a fair criticism. And if you look at if you were to do a study on the judgments from the press ombuds, you'd find that there have been mistakes that have been made by people, and that happens. But what you want is for people to learn from it and people to strive to get better. And the industry does that. And there's a lot of good journalists in South Africa. You mentioned people who win awards. If you look at the work Sikonati Manchancha, from the same stable, for that matter, is done, exposing the rot at the ESCOM to help South Africans have better conversations. The Sunday Times owns up. Nobody disagrees with you. Yeah. So that's a dead conversation. But it's important to raise the further question we were asking about the consequences. And it's good that these conversations are taking place so that the media itself can get better and South Africa can get a better service.
Okay. We take more of your questions and comments after the break. Stay with us.